What's the verdict Guild Wars 2? What do you think after playing for a month? I would say there is nothing in Guild Wars like, so to put into perspective, I think the game is good. What it's lacking is it's lacking something that like captivates you, that's like makes you like want to like keep playing. I don't know how to describe it. Like lack of cliffhangers between quests, maybe. It doesn't throw you into dungeons, so you don't really experience dungeons unless you go out of your way to do them, right? Like it's these small things. It's like it forces you into content that you don't even know that you like or don't like, at least once, so you know if you like it or don't like it. Because right now, like, it's cool that you can explore everything, but like as a new player, right, it's like it is missing a spark. But it's also like, okay, so for example, I know that a lot of WoW players never step foot in Mythic Plus or Raid, right? They're just like, they're intimidated by it. It's like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to go into a Raid. I have to learn this boss and whatever. It's like, it feels like it might be hard, right? And it's like, they don't even want to try, and they don't even want to explore to see if they'll like it. Guild Wars 2 doesn't even push you into any content. It's like, which is, it's good in one way because like you can do whatever you want because nothing is forced, but it also doesn't present the content to you to know if you want to learn it or not. You know, there are many players in WoW that don't even do Mythic Plus because they're like, they did the Mythic Zero and it's like, I don't know, Mythic Plus seems like it's very complicated routes and all that. It's like whatever, but it's like at least you got into the dungeons in normal, heroic, and Mythic Zero that kind of introduce you to the content, right? I know that's like Fractal's low level. It's like it's a very introductory, like the first 100 or whatever, are very easy. But no, I don't. I feel like, well, it's hard with talking about ESO. If I played anything but Altmeri Dominion in ESO as my first run, I would probably feel it's very similar. Because at least in Altmeri Dominion, in the story, they have like this one character that was just like, that was a very captivating character that you want to see more of, Razumdar. Right, I didn't really care about the characters in all the other ones, but because of Razumdar, I got really into the Guild Wars, the ESO story, which became really fucking good overall. But I wouldn't have been captivated without Razumdar, probably. As far as the gameplay itself, I mean, I like the gameplay overall, right? I would say it's very similar to ESO in that regard. Like the gameplay, in my opinion, both are good. I feel like Guild Wars 2 is a bit smoother, but again, it just misses that captivating aspect to it for some reason. But I just can't really figure out why. Right? I don't know if it's like the quests or like in terms of story. I like the characters that I'm playing with, like Marjorie and all that stuff, but most time their character is not showing. It's like they're there, but it's not like the character, like the aspect of the character that you're really looking forward to. Playing all the main MMOs, would you say FF is the best overall? It depends. I can say it like this. PvP wise, Guild Wars 2 is the best overall. Story wise, FF is the best overall. End game content, as long as like, if let's say loot was better in WoW, I would say WoW offers more end game content. Right? But again, I can't even say that WoW offers more end game content because I haven't done end game content on Guild Wars 2, so I can't even say that. What I can say is, in terms of feeling, World of Warcraft has the best feel out of all of them. Like smoothness. I would say that. In terms of like MMO, so it's like, okay, which aspect we're talking about? We're talking about like the social aspect of an MMO. Social aspect, I would say Final Fantasy by far. If we're talking about RPG aspect, I would say probably Guild Wars 2. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 probably has more RPG elements than the other ones. World of Warcraft is kind of like, it doesn't do story very well, it doesn't do PvP very well, it doesn't do RPG very well. Gameplay does fantastically, but it's kind of like passable on all the other aspects. So it's like the story, passable. No, it's not great, but it's passable. And then you have what's called endgame content. It's not great, has its issues. The raid takes way too much of your time. The Mythic Plus is a grind fest, but it's passable. It's kind of enjoyable, right? And you don't really have to do it because all the gear is gonna be useless anyway. So you don't really have to do it. In terms of PvP, it's passable. Like there's like some builds that are just like more fun. In terms of RPG, I think RPG is probably the weakest element of World of Warcraft, to be honest, in terms of like what in player choices and like customizing your character. As much as they added now with the talents, the talent trees are just like, it doesn't give you substantially more options than the previous talent tree did. Maybe like 2 more build options, but it's like, it's not even like, it doesn't change your gameplay really. It's like you have 1 or 2 main builds that you play in PvP or PvE, and then some tweaks here and there, but it doesn't really change your gameplay. So it's like, what's the point of all these talents when you're playing pretty much the same exact way? It's like the RPG element is just not there, in my opinion, for World of Warcraft. The itemization is not there. The end game progression is not there. Like they removed all the systems, which is good and bad at the same time, because now when you get reach max level, there's nothing for you to do aside from farm gear that is going to be irrelevant when the new patch comes out. So it's like, you know, so it's hard for me to say which one is the best MMO, because it's like, in which regard are we talking? We'll see if Thorn Liberty in 2023 and Ashes in 2024 will be the new replacement for MMO. I honestly don't even think Ashes will be out in 2024. I feel like there will be too many issues if it comes out too early. I think it's going to be 2025 and then Riot MMO 2026. But yeah, we'll see. Will be the new replacement MMO. I just find it hard to beat WoW and FF or Guild Wars 2. New World failed with that. New World... The New World is extremely mundane. That's what I would call it. And again, there's no... I feel like every game is missing the RPG element of an MMO. It's like they're making MMOs, but they're lacking the RPG. Because like if you just consider RPG as like, well, I'm role-playing as a warrior, okay, then a shooter is also an RPG. I'm role-playing as a soldier, right? It's like, that's not what an RPG is, you know, it's like... But I feel like a lot of these games are just missing the RPG element, so it's like... Because I can easily say Modern Warfare is an MMORPG. You know, you have weapon loadouts that are specific to you. Each gun shoots differently, and you are actually not a soldier, so you're role-playing as a soldier. Wow, and it's an MMO because there's so many players playing with you at any one time. That's not what it is, though, right? It's like, it's not an MMORPG, right? It's just a fucking shooter battle royale, right? It's like, for me, an MMORPG is supposed to be just like a world where your choices matter, and which I don't think you can even make that game like that anymore, right? How you build your character should matter. But right now, Guild Wars 2 is the only game that really has choices in how you build your character, right? ESO does it well too, but I would say Guild Wars 2 just does way more. Like these, what's it called? While leveling, these trainings are cool and all, so it's like it makes it so leveling matters and stuff like that. But in the end game, having a build, being able to play with all these options, like you have what, 8 options, and like mix and match 3 of them. I think that's really cool, right? That technically every build can be different, right? Because how many options do you have here? You have 3, 6, 9 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6, something like that. That's how many options you have, right? Like you have a lot of options in how many builds you can make. Now, are they, very different from one another? No, but and then it's like you have like the 3 classes as well inside of a class. It's like, yeah, it does classes better, it does RPG better. ESO, in my opinion, is very close second. I don't know, potentially, maybe, honestly, ESO might actually be better at it, but the implementation just feels bad. Because there's too many support skills and not enough attack skills. And so it's like, you always end up using, like, you're kind of forced to use a lot of the same things. But the gear matters, like, you can equip no, you know what, yeah. ESO technically does RPG better than Guild Wars 2, now that I think about it, because heavy, medium, and light gear passives matter. Your guilds matter. There's like a lot of passives matter for weapons, for armor. Yeah, no. And like your class really matters. Here, gear doesn't matter as much in terms of like, if you're clothwear, you're clothwear, right? I can't be like a tanky virtuoso, for example. Okay, so yeah, ESO does it better. ESO does RPG better than Guild Wars 2, but it's very close. It's not that far off.